Hello, welcome back to the channel. Nigel with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench, and here we are now with part 4 of the Lancaster bomber from Hachette. This is a part works, and it's turning into a very nice model indeed. So if you subscribe to this already, then you'll already know that you'll get pack 1, which will, or bundle 1, which will be parts 1 and 2, and in there you get the free tin poster to put on the wall. And then in bundle 2, which I've got here, which has just arrived, we get packs 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now we've done part 3. If you remember, we built up the nose, we fitted the glazing to the canopy framing, the astrodome and the nose on there. We also fitted the window and the bomber's control panel into the bomb aimer's control panel into the starboard nose. So there we go. So if you have subscribed, you'll also know that in bundle 2 you get this free gift, which is a lovely wooden pen, which has got the Lancaster bomber. There you go, B.III engraved into it there. Very, very nice. Turned brass end and everything, all beautifully threaded. It is really a lovely, lovely bit of work, and it's very nice. You can see it's made of real wood, and you can see we've got a hard spot there. Could probably do with a coat of varnish actually to fill in the small imperfections there. But that's obviously where there was a twig or something on the branch. So yeah, lovely it is. So that comes as a gift with bundle 2 if you've subscribed. If you want to subscribe to this and build it along with me, I'll put a screenshot up now. You can see across the bottom there's the website you can visit. You can also scan the QR code, and that will take you directly to the site where you can go and order it or have a look at it. And also in the description below the video down here, you'll see there's a link, and that's where you can go to a YouTube video and you can see the model being built up. Now you're probably wondering why I've got this out of its bag. The reason is I'm a stupid idiot. I started filming this and didn't realise I'd turned the camera off. So I was doing my favourite trick of turning the camera on in between filming and turning it off when I was filming. So hopefully I've got it right this time. Just looking to check the camera says record, yes. So that's why. So I've actually already recorded going through the magazine. I've recorded getting out of its plastic bag. I've opened the packet, taken it from its cardboard backing and everything. So there you go. Right. So this should be pitch perfect because it's number 2. Well, it's actually number 3. You're not going mad. If you've seen me, I've already done this. I've already filmed part 4 back a few weeks ago because when this first came out, I started buying it. I then approached Hachette and asked if they would be interested in sponsoring a build on the channel, and they agreed that they would, which was very nice of them. So now, because they've sent me the packs from part 1 all the way up, then it's only right that I actually video everything. I will be making some small changes to the build sequence to make things a bit more sensible and less likely to break. Such as fitting the antenna and stuff, and there's obviously going to be other changes I'm going to be making as well going forward, and I will also be doing some colour changes on the other parts that I've got. So for example, the interior of the nose, a lot of people think the Lancaster was always black in this area. Some people think the whole cockpit was always black. Up until late 43 the complete interior would have been green, and then from certain factories the seat and the pedestal would have been black, and other factories the seat and the pedestal would have been green. So thank you to Chris for all that knowledge that he passes on to me. So there we go. So this is actually from part 3 as well. This is the floor. We're going to be using it in this section, and this seems to be what Hachette sent to do. They give you parts in part 3 that you use in part 4, then they'll give you parts in part 4 that you're going to use in part 5. So it sort of melds everything in together. So as usual, we'll have a look at the magazine first. So usual sort of front cover there, they're the same on all of them, part 4. And we can see inside here we've got build your model, history and legacy, tactics and technology. So this is all about the Radon, the Turits, and this is all about the Rolls-Royce Merlin engine. You can see the model there. I'll do a close-up. You can see there's the model built up on its stand. It has rotating propellers, it has machine gun noises and flashes, it has lights inside, it has all the identification lights, navigation lights, it has the lights for the bombing, it has undercarriage that go up and down, and noises and everything, and that stand will come with the model. A lot of people are commenting the model has no dihedral. This is the actual pre-production model here. It has no dihedral, as you will see in the video that I've linked at the bottom underneath. But Hachette have actually confirmed that the production model that we're building will have the correct 7 degrees dihedral. Okay, so don't worry about that. Another thing people always talk about is cost. Yes, it's not the cheapest model in the world, but the way I look at it is it's sort of a few pounds a week rather than a massive one outlay. And I think a lot of people, it's like the old days of the club book. You used to go and buy shoes in the club book, didn't you? You paid a little bit more than you would in the shops, but it was, you know, it was £5 a week rather than outlaying £100 in one. So moving on here, we've got the parts and everything, and what's really nice about these builds is they give you the names of all the parts. Like for instance here we've got 04E, which is that little box there, and that's the astrograph, and I have never even heard the astrograph mentioned. So if you want to learn about the Lancaster, this is another good way to do it, because they name every single part. So that's really nice. And we've got parts in here, like I said, that we're not going to use in this section, but we're going to use them moving forward. So going in the magazine, we've got the assembly instructions. We're going to be building up the pedestal for the pilot's seat. We've got the internal framing here with the navigator's control panels. We've got a parachute going in the nose. We've got the extended front section of the floor going on. And then we've got the kneeling pad for the, or the rest pad, should I say. It's almost like a chest pad for the bomb aimer. I don't know why they haven't put the knee pads in there, because they would have had padding on the knees. In fact, with this here, this logo on here and the black paint and everything, I've never seen this in real life on a Lancaster. So the only place I've ever actually seen this replicated, which they may well have used as their reference, is the beautiful Dambuster book from Wing Leader, which is no longer in print. And there's 3D CAD models throughout that book. I have reviewed it. If you want to go back and look on my channel, you'll see there is a review of that book back a couple of years ago. And it was the 3D modelling was done by Peter Furkasevich, and it's beautiful, beautiful work. He's obviously got this from somewhere, but I believe the information is incorrect. I know for a fact this nose area would have been green, not black. So there we go. So moving on then, we're going to go on to the side panel there, the internal side panel. This should all be green, not black. It may be painted green actually, I'm not sure. Is it painted green? Yes, it is. It is painted green, it's shown black there. And then we're going to put the armour panel in for the engineer. We're going to fit the curtain, and then we've got the de-icing nozzles going in, and there's all the completed work we're going to have. So you can see we're making up lots of little sub-assemblies going forward. So the interesting part of the book, we've got the raid on the Turits, which was a fantastic success for the Lancaster and the tall boy bomb that you can be seeing loaded there. The Lancaster had special bulged bomb doors to cover up the tall boys. The Grand Slams had the reshaped bomb bay and everything with it all faired over, because they couldn't physically get the doors around the Grand Slam because it was huge. So you can see there a tall boy being loaded on. Loading a tall boy into a Lancaster. This photograph was featured in the Sunday Express on the 15th of October 1944. And there's Turits in the Norwegian waters in July 42. Got protective anti-torpedo nets surrounding the ship. So there we go. First crack by Lancasters by 9 and 617 squadrons, each one carrying a tall boy, took off from Yagodnik in Russia 15th of September 44 to attack Turits. 38 Lancasters had flown from Britain to Russia on 11th September, but several had crash landed on arrival. The approaching 27 Lancasters were not spotted on the ship's radar because they were screened by mountains as they neared Turits in Kar Fjord. There we go. The bomb smashed through the ship's forecastle and exploded in the hull, damaging its engines. It was the only bomb to find its target. And there we can see Turits all hidden away in camouflage and everything. And there you can see after she's been bombed, she's capsized and gone over on her back. So there we are. And then here we've got some information about the Merlin engine. Fantastic engine that it was. 160,000 built, 60,000 of those were Packard, made in America, but used in the Spitfire and the Hurricane and the Lancaster, the Mosquito and various aircraft. Absolutely fantastic engine, really, really good. And then going over the page here, we've got a couple of ladies there working on the Rolls-Royce Merlin engine here. And something I have noticed about this photograph, and I'm really glad I've got it. Look, there is no Rolls-Royce logo on the cam box or rocker cover. Okay, a lot of people complain that Tamiya missed it out and all that, and it's not there on a lot of the engines. So there we go. These are women working on the engines at the Hillington factory, which is where I've been up there. When I was working for Rolls-Royce, they sent me up there to train some people. So that was interesting. It was a great few weeks away. So I was staying in the Glen Hill Hotel in Renfrew. And, yeah, very nice, very good experience. And then going over the page here, we've got the, this is a funny story here, I'll read this out to you in a minute. Key personality, Mrs. Tilly Shilling. One of the issues they had with the engine was is the fuel in the carburettor. If the aircraft went inverted or into a steep dive or whatever, then obviously the float chamber became a hollow chamber because it was no longer a chamber, it was no longer gravity fed. So a Rolls-Royce, Sir Stanley Hooker investigated this, and Mrs. Tilly Shilling, shown left on her motorbike on a Norton, working as part of his team, solved the problem. She came up with the idea of fitting a diaphragm in the carburettor float chamber with a measured hole in it, thus forcing the fuel through the hole for even distribution. The device was thereafter known as Mrs. Shilling's orifice. There you go. So, and there's a Rolls-Royce Merlin engine there on a frame, ready for restoration or just display or whatever. It's a beautiful, beautiful engine. And then we've got the, I don't know why, but they've covered the bolt and pull Defiant here. And this was very ill-fated. You can imagine they put a turret in there with guns, but you can imagine if it was flying around like a fighter and how on earth would the gunner keep up? So there we go. Aircraft equipped with Merlin engines during World War II. There we go. There's a list of them there. You can read them off. I won't read them all out. But there we go. You can see them all there. And there we are. And then coming in issue 5, we've got lots more detailed parts for the cockpit. And as you know, I've already done this. And it's very, very nice indeed. And then we've got lots of information there coming in our magazine in part 5. So first things first, we'll check all our parts off. As I say, I've already removed this from the cardboard, so we've got the cardboard back in there. It can go in the recycling, and then we can open up this lid here. Just take the cover off. There we go. Take that cover off. It's going to fly off in a minute. All the bits are going to go everywhere. There we go. That's how it goes. Pop. So we take that cover off, and we've got all our bits and pieces in there, and we can check all that off against this and make sure it's all there. Basically, as long as there's something in every single hole, and I think we're pretty much there, we'll just check off our screw bags. So we should have 5 AM screws, and we should have 4 CP screws, and we should have our 2 little 04R, that's our little jet washer nozzles. So there we go. Right, so going into the magazine, part 1, first part is we are going to fit the pilot's left-hand control panel onto the pedestal. So I'm going to grab a pair of tweezers so I can pick this out. There we go. So there's our pedestal. This should actually be black on the upper surface on a Dambuster Lanc. So there we go. And then we've got our pilot's side panel. And as you know, I've done this before, so I know this is a very tight fit. It doesn't necessarily need gluing. There is a lump on there that's going to be removed, so we're just going to remove that lump from there. That's going to stop it going together, and that will push in there. As I said, you can hear it going in. It's an extremely tight fit. This will get that to go in. Make sure you don't push down on those legs because they will break. There we go. It's going in bit by bit. There we are, it's in there now. So there you can see that panel fitted on there, which is all very nice. And then we've got this interior panel here, which is our port side interior panel. So this is where the navigator sits, this is where the pilot goes. So we're going to fit parts 04E, which is this one here. That one is our, what was it called? I can't remember, I've forgotten already. So that one there, we're going to fit that part there. We've got part 04Q, which is our reeling in cable. That's for the wireless operator. And then we've got a panel here, which is a navigator's information panel. I'd be interested to see, I must ask Hachette actually if they intend to give us decals in the future to go on, or decals to go on these gauges. Otherwise we'll use something from the aftermarket. So we've got those 3 parts off ready to go now. So we can get this out of the way. I'm going to grab my Pringles lid, as I always do for the super glue. And I'm using Flexi 5K CA for PE, the clear stuff. Just got a little drop in there. It's great using a Pringles lid or something because it saves you having the bottle open. So it saves it going off. You can apply it with a cocktail stick because you've got a little puddle there to dip into. But also the other beauty is once it dries, once it's all dried out, you can just flake it all off and use the Pringles lid again. So part 04E, that's going to go in, and it's going to go that way up by the look of it. Oh, it's got a D-shaped hole in it anyway, so you can't get it the wrong way up. So it's going to go in with the flat at the top. So we're just going to see how that fits in there. We always test fit before we glue. Okay, that's a nice snug fit in there. So what I'm going to do is just put a drop of glue in the hole. Okay. And then just press that one into there. As I say, it's a D-shaped hole, so you can't go wrong. So that's going to go into there like that. What was that part called again? I've forgotten already. 04 astrograph. There we go. I must try and remember that. And then we've got 04Q, which is going to go into this hole here. So we've got 04Q, which is our cable winding in reel. So that's going to press into there. So that presses in there beautifully. In fact, yeah, it does come out. I was wondering if it actually needed any glue. I'm just going to put a drop of glue on the face. Okay, because if I put it in the hole, it's such a nice fit, the pin will just wipe all the glue out. So put a drop of glue on that face, and then we can put this down onto there, like so. There we go, that's gone in there. So that's glued in. And then 04M is going into this hole here. So this is the navigator's panel. Again, that's a D-shaped hole, so it's all foolproof, you can't get it wrong. You can't get it upside down. That fits in there lovely. So again, we'll put a drop of glue on the face, just like so. And then drop this one into there. There we go, that's gone in there, so that's all nice. So that's our port side interior wall done. I'm just going to give that a twist to make sure it's nice and square. So that's that done. So I'm going to pop over the page. We've now got the parachute. So here's our parachute here, going into our parachute holder. So, whoopsie daisy, drop that on the floor. And again, we've got a D-shaped hole for it to go in. But I'm noticing on here, I don't know if you can see it, but there is some flash on the edge of that pin, which is going to affect the fit. So I'm just going to slice that off, just like so. And then I'm not going to check fit this, because if I do, I won't be able to get it apart again. So I'm just going to put a drop of glue in the bottom of that hole. Okay, a decent sized drop in case the pin doesn't reach the bottom. And then flat at the bottom, and then that's going to go in there just like that, and that will sit. Now you may wish to leave that out, because if you're if you're a stickler for accuracy, then they probably wouldn't have parachutes in them when they're parked on the ground. Having said that, this is flying, but it has no crew. So there is some crew on the way, and I'm going to be reviewing it soon. I'm not sure if the crew will fit this model, but it's designed for other models. So now we're coming down to step 4, and we need our Bombay roof cockpit floor. So this is going to go into there. So that's a nice snug fit. So we'll just grab a drop of super glue. We just put it in the hole, just like so. Okay, and then we can plop this into there. Just push it down until it sits in there nice and flat. And there we go, just like so. So I'm going to grab my plastic rule again, like we used in part 3, and I'm just going to use that to push it in, because it gives me a bit more of a purchase. There we go, so that's that in there, like that. Now we've got part 04A, which is the front section of the floor beneath the pilot. So this is going to go in here. So that's a nice snug fit in there. Okay, probably doesn't actually need gluing, but I'm going to put some glue on here anyway. And I'm going to put a drop on the outside of each pin, because in the middle there's a hole, if you look, so there's no point in gluing there. So we can just push that down until it goes nicely home. and then our pedestal is going to sit on top of there like that. Okay, so there we go. Right, and then going over the page, as I say, lots to do in this one. We're now going to fit the body rest for our bomb aimer. I'm going to make sure this goes in the right way. Now, if you look on here, you've got one hole is bigger than the other. One is sort of rectangular and one is square. So you can't get this in the wrong way, it won't physically fit. So you can check the fit of that in there, that goes in nice and easy. So you may decide to glue it, you may not. So we'll just put some glue on those pins, just like so. And then we can pop that into there. Just like that, that's that one done. Okay, so that's that done, so we can now put that to one side again. We can put that to one side and we can put our cockpit floor to one side. Now we're looking at some more glazing, so remember we don't use super glue on our glazing. So just use my tweezers to lift that out gently. Place this down on the bench. You may want to place it on a soft cloth or something to prevent it scratching. My workbench has this paper on it, so it's nice and soft anyway. And then we've got our windows here to go in. Now if you remember, if you saw my previous part 4 that I did, it's been taken down now, so I don't have 2 videos of the same subject. I went around these and painted them black. Well, not painted them, I coloured them black. I need something to get in. Grab a cocktail stick. Get that one out of there. That was a nice snug fitting now, that one. Okay, and we can see on here we have some little areas of like a sprue nib, you can see on there. See on the edge there. So we're just going to basically grab a sanding stick and just sand that off, just in case it affects the fit of anything going forward. It's better to do it now as a separate part than leave it. I must say this clear plastic Hachette uses is very nice. It's very hard. Got the same on that one, so we just sand that back. Just get rid of it completely. There we are. That's that gone. And then what we're going to grab our Mig Ammo. This is the Mig Ammo Ultra Glue. Okay, get the lid off, that could go in there. Then we'll grab a cocktail stick. Don't use the same cocktail stick as the super glue. And what we're going to do is just quickly check the fit of these first. So this one is going forward. I don't think you can physically get these wrong. No, they won't fit. That's good then. So that one's going forward. That one fits absolutely fine. And this one, that one fits absolutely fine as well. Okay, so we'll just, no, don't use that one, Nige. We'll just grab some of our ultra glue, put a couple of drops in there. It doesn't need too much. Okay, put a bit on the sides as well. And then we can place our windows in. So we've got the wireless operator's window there. And then you've got the what would be the navigator's window if they didn't put a load of equipment over the front of it. Okay, so that's those glued in. Make sure you've got no glue on your fingers. And that glue will dry nice and clear. There we go. That's those glued in there. That's our windows fitted. Very nice indeed. And now we're going to come back to our canopy. We're all over the place with this one, aren't we? So, take the armoured glass and identify the 3 fixing holes inside of the cockpit canopy. This is a push fit connection, so no glue is needed. Something you might wish to do, if you want to make your model a little more accurate, is just go up the edges of here with a Sharpie. Now we can see on there, again, we've got one of those, you can feel it, there's a sprue nib on there, so I'm just going to use my sanding stick just to sand that nice and smooth. Okay, just like that. And it's the same on this side. Just sand that so it's nice and flat and smooth, and you've got rid of the sprue nib. And then take a Sharpie or a black marker pen and just colour the edges of this black, because that's how they are. Okay. And then as it says in the book, this is a push fit. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to do this after, because I know from previous experience it's best to fit the curtain first, because when you're trying to fit the curtain, this is sat there sticking up in the air and it gets in the way. So what I'm going to do is fit the curtain first. Now I can remember from doing the first one, we've got some flash on there, so I'm just going to very lightly cut that away, because that's going to prevent it fitting properly. Yours may be different. Flashes, you know, depending on the day and everything, not generally the mold tool. So that will go into there. We've got 2 holes and 2 pins, and yeah, just like the last one. So you've got 1 pin here, 1 pin there and 1 pin there, and this one is 1.6 millimeters, and this one is 1.3 millimeters. And these holes, it does say in here, to help you position that you may need to remove excess paint from the sockets in the curtain, glue it in place. There is paint in there, but I believe it's actually like a bit of plastic coming out as well. So what I'm going to do first of all, these are the micro box drills. You can get these on Amazon or for premium hobbies or whatever, and they're sort of 0.3 up to 1.6 millimeters, and they are very, very handy to have around you if you're doing any sort of modelling. So I'm just going to take that drill and stick it in there, and you can see that it's actually removed a little slither of plastic as well as just the paint. Don't push it because you don't want it to go through. You obviously don't want a hole in your curtain. You may decide to leave this out, because quite often these curtains were taken down and chucked into the back on the deck underneath the rear glazing. There's the 1.3. Okay, so now I know it will fit. Alright, so get it right way around, and I know now that that will fit in there, and it will fit over those pins beautifully. Now, I don't think, from memory, I don't think you need to glue it. There we go. That's fitted in there, lovely. As you can see, that's fitted in, and now you can see it inside. I think it's slightly dark. I think it should be a lighter colour than this, but hey ho. And there we go, that's fitted in there beautifully. And now we can take our armoured glass, which is over here, and we can fit that into those 3 holes. You can see we've got the 3 holes there, 3 pins on there, and that will fit into there. As you may have seen in my part 3, when I picked this up from my other build, I knocked it out. It is easily knocked out, but once it's actually on the model, it will sit on top of the deck at the back, so that's going to hold it in place. So it doesn't need to be glued. Of course you can glue it if you want to, but it doesn't necessarily need it. You just push that down nice and tight in there. There we go. So that's our armoured glass for our flight engineer. Okay, so that's all very nice in there. And then going over the page, we can put our Mig Ammo glue away because we don't need it anymore. We're now going to fit our de-icing nozzles. Okay, so get this bag open. So there's 2 of these. They're apparently identical, but I seem to remember in my first build there was a slight difference. Make sure you get them the right way round. As you can see, they have a straight side and an angled side. Make sure the angle is facing forwards. So these are just going to press down into there. Oops. As I say, make sure you get it the right way round, it will look silly. I seem to remember I had issues with this on the first one I built. They are very snug. They've actually got D-shaped holes. I didn't notice that before. You've got D-shaped holes, D-shaped pins. So there we go. It does. If you grab it with a pair of tweezers, it will push in nicely. So make sure the angle's facing forward so that the flat on the D is at the back. And then just push that in. Okay, so that's them in. And then what we can do is grab another little drop of super glue, because there's not quite enough here. We can grab a drop of super glue Use the wrong cocktail stick, never mind. You just put a drop of super glue on the back, just like so. Okay. And then make sure you leave it that way up to dry. Don't put it that way up, because if you trap those gases, that's when it fogs up your clear parts. But it won't fog up the clear parts if you leave it that way up. That's what my little builds are all about, full of little tips and bits and pieces like that to help you along. And that's what this is. That's what I try and do mine a bit different. Is to, you know, keep the tips and everything coming for you. So there we go. So that is actually part 4 finished. There's quite a bit of work in that one. The other thing we can do, we've got this is our forward light now for checking our altitude. So I've got my battery pack here. This was from part 1. So we can plug that into there and we can see our light comes on beautifully. So there's our light. We can set those up on the base and get them in the right figure of 8 pattern. So there we are. That's beautiful. So we've got parts here left over. So we've got the light. We've got our forward emergency exit. We've got that's the radio computer, so that's going to be going in the front. I don't know why they didn't fit that now. In reality, the Dambuster Lancaster didn't actually have this in it, but that's basically going to fit in there at a later date, in there like that. But as I say, in reality, they didn't actually have it. So there we go. So that's our parts that we're going to be carrying over. We've also got here some screws. We're going to be carrying over. We've got these little jiffy bags, are great to, little Ziploc bags are great to keep for spare parts and that, so always keep hold of them. And then we've got our screws there, which are obviously going to be using in the next part or in another part. So there we go. I'm sure it'll say something in here about the, yeah, it says unused parts will be fitted in a future issue. So there we are. So that has been part 4. I hope you enjoyed that. If you have, please leave a like, give us a thumbs up, and if you have any questions or comments, put them down below. As I say, if anybody wants to comment about the cost or the dihedral, it's all been covered 1,000,000 times over. So there we go. Right, I'll see you all soon for part 5. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.